Good afternoon once again, everybody. As promised, today we are going to do a video on my version of Chille Rellenos. Now, these aren't the exact authentic versions of Chille Rellenos because I'm not using I forget the name of it, but there's a specific Mexican cheese that they put in it that I do not have, and I've actually never used it in my Chille Rellenos. I just use a cheese blend instead. And I also don't do any breading on mine. But other than that, it is a version of Chille Rellenos, and I think that they are way better than anything that you would ever make or get in a restaurant, at least in my experience. In some of the restaurants that I've been, there's always way too much breading and stuff on them, and while they have a lot of good flavors, I think it's kind of overdone. So the ones I do here, it's a real simple recipe, and so today I wanted to show you how to make it so you can enjoy it at home. Now you can get the poblanos at your farmer's market or at the grocery store. They have them in stock normally year-round. I grow them every year because I love them. And so these are some ones that I harvested, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, sometime in the last couple days anyway. So we're gonna get to stuffing these with all kinds of cheesy goodness and some topped with some red enchilada sauce, and it's good stuff. So poblanos are not really a spicy pepper. They're fairly mild, especially like if you would compare them to like the jalapenos that we made the other day, or like the Ring of Fire peppers that I grow that I make the hot powder out of. They only run like about 1,000 to I think like 2,500 or something like that on the Scoville scale. So sometimes you can get some mild spice in them, but it's not really anything that's gonna cause you any major problems. So they are basically my favorite pepper to eat. Stuffed, grilled, you can even put them in salads, whatever. I think they have a very nice flavor to them. So let's get to making this recipe. It's really easy. There's not a whole lot going on in it. Okay, so let's go over our ingredients real quick. Of course, the first thing you're gonna need is poblanos. I would say start with at least 6. I'm making a bigger batch here, but the other day I made a small pan of them that only had 6. So at least 6, and then up to 12 or whatever if you're using a larger baking dish, like a, what are they, like a 9 by 13 or whatever baking dish. You can fit a lot more in there. And so I'm just gonna use all the ones that I have here. You will need some baby spinach, and if you're growing spinach, my spinach didn't fare so well in the garden this year, so I'm buying the packaged. And this is actually a smoothie mix that has baby kale and baby spinach in it. That will work too, but you want at least the baby spinach leaves. You're going to need about 2 cups of that. You will need 1 onion. 1 sweet onion that you're going to mince up. Alright, so jarred garlic, right? I know a lot of authentic cooks are and chefs are very against the jarred garlic, but I don't have any fresh garlic cloves, so we are going to be using the jarred garlic today. And this is already minced, makes it a lot easier, so we are going to be using about 1.5 tablespoons of this. So I think that would be what, maybe 2 or 3 garlic cloves, depending on how big they are if you're using fresh. Cumin, you're going to need 1 teaspoon. Yes, I think 1 teaspoon of cumin. You might want to add a little bit more depending on how strong you like your cumin flavor. I might be adding a little bit more, but at least 1 teaspoon of cumin. Also depends on how big of a batch you're doing. Gonna need 1 egg. This is an egg from Foxy Brown, one of our chickens. And so this acts as a binder in your mixture. Then for your cheese, again, just like the stuffed jalapenos that we did the other day, I am using the Mexican 4 cheese mix. You will need 2 packages of this, and you will see why. Then you'll need some salt and black pepper to taste. Oh, and then the final ingredient, hang on. Last ingredient you need is red enchilada sauce. I use the Old El Paso. I really like this stuff. If you have a brand that you prefer, then you can use that. But at least one 19-ounce can is what you're going to need. Oh, I don't think I said. Cilantro. You will need about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of cilantro. I just went and cut this out of the garden, so I need to go wash it because we just had a complete downpour of rain, which is why I'm inside cooking today. Although it's sunny out right now. But anyway, I need to go wash my cilantro. But 1/4 to 1/2 cup, depending on your cilantro taste. To me, a little bit more is always better. All right, so that should be all of your ingredients. Now, let's get to getting the peppers prepared. Right here. Okay. Okay, so to prepare your jalapeno, first step is you are gonna just cut out this stem area. Just kind of cut it in a circle around like that. Hopefully you have better kitchen knives than I do that are sharper. Then all that just pops out. Where's the camera? Jeez, can't get this on camera. Anyway, there you go. Popped out, right? That's the bulk of your seeds. Then you can kind of just tap it on your board and the rest of the seeds come out. So there you got your hollowed out poblano. So I'm going to go through and finish hollowing these out, cutting them out, and then we'll go to the next step. So I just finished taking all the tops off and getting the seeds out of there, but just one note is that you are going to get hundreds of seeds out of these, depending on how many peppers you're using and how big they are. But all the poblano plants that I grew this year are all from seeds that I took out of the poblanos that I grew last year. All you really need to do is take these seeds. Sorry, trying to get this on the camera the right way because everything's backwards. Just take these seeds, spread them out on a paper plate, let them dry. Once they are completely dry, put them in a little airtight container, keep them someplace where it's dark and cool, and then next summer you can plant them and have yourself a whole new crop of poblanos. So just keep that in mind if you want to grow some. Okay, so we got all of our peppers here. I ended up having 13. This may be a little too many for what I want to do here, at least for the mixture that I'm making. But whatever I am not unable to stuff, I will use the remaining ones for something else, or keep them, or freeze them or something to keep them for later. Anyway, so once you have them all hollowed out, then you will put them on a sheet pan. Get your broiler going in your oven. Put it on high, and then you will put these in the broiler. And time-wise, it's a little questionable. Just keep an eye on them. What you want to start seeing, you'll put them in, on one side. When you start to kind of see them blister some, get a little bit of dark spots on them, but all of them on top will start to blister. Pull the pan out, flip them over, and then let them do the same thing, blister on the other side. I mean, it's really only maybe a couple minutes each side, if that. So keep an eye on them once you get them in the broiler, because once it gets going, it happens pretty quick. If you leave it in too long, you're going to end up burning them all and just ruin the whole thing. So just keep an eye on it. Blister one side, flip them, blister on the other side, take them out. Okay. Time to do a little bit of flippy. Okay, so they are now out of the oven. You see how they're a little blistery. I don't know if it comes up on the camera, but there's a little bit of brownish, blackish spots on them. Now, what you can do, what some people do here, is they would put them in a paper bag and then let them cool down a little bit and then peel off the skins. I don't do that. I leave the skin on. I like, so this whole broiling part might not be completely necessary, except for that I think it gives it more of a good roasty flavor. Maybe that's just in my head, but that's my opinion. You do what you want. But now at this point, we're going to let these cool down while we start making our cheese mixture to stuff in the center of these before we bake them. Okay, so get yourself some sort of large mixing bowl, glass, metal, plastic, doesn't really matter. I got this big plastic one here. And first step that you're gonna do, dump in a whole package of that 4 cheese mix. Alright, there's your 4 cheese Mexican mix. So we got all that in there. Add your egg. Just dump that right on in there. You can whisk it up first if you want and then dump it in, but I just stir it in there all together. It still works the same way. Saves you a bowl and helps you skip a step. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself. You want to chop these leaves up some first so they're not so big. It can just be a rough chop. I'm going to leave some full ones in there because I got all excited about making the video and was just like, yeah, throw all this stuff in there. And I'm like, oh wait, we got to cut stuff up first. So we'll kind of do a quick rough chop on here. Now, granted, your spinach and your kale leaves, if you're using a spinach kale mix or if you're just using baby spinach, even putting because it's baby spinach, it's going to cook way down anyway when it's baking in the oven. So I'm not that concerned about having these crazy massive leaves in the middle of the pepper. But doing a rough chop is going to make stirring all this stuff up a bit easier. Okay, so alright, so that's in there. Now you're gonna chop up your onion. I'm not gonna get crazy and throw that in there, so we will change this into a cut up onion. Do some magic. Boom, magic. Chopped up onion. Put that in your bowl. Got your cilantro here. This you also want to chop up. Depending on the size of your stems, you can use stems and all. Gives it more flavor. You may notice that I am not a professional chef when it comes to my knife skills like you would see on the Food Network, but I still get the job done. Alright, got that. Throw that in the bowl. Okay, now we're putting in that minced garlic. This is a half tablespoon measure, so we're going to put in 4 of these. But if you are doing fresh garlic, mince up, you know, a couple cloves, 2 to 3 cloves. 4 if you want to get a little crazy with the cheese whiz. Alright, a little bit of ground black pepper in here. I don't have one of those fancy grinders, so just putting in some black pepper. Gonna add some salt. Again, your salt and pepper is to your taste. 1 teaspoon of cumin. Just sprinkle that all in there. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of extra. So we'll call that 1.25 teaspoons this time. How about that? This is a bigger batch. I could probably even put more, but I think we'll be okay with that. So there's your all your stuff in there, right? Now we're going to mix all that up. Okay, now that we got most of that mixed up together, going to add about half of the packet of the other bag of cheese that you got. But you want to reserve the other half the bag. That'll be for some sprinkling on top. Now you could also cook up some ground beef or chicken and add to this too. But I am doing, normally when I make these, I always do vegetarian style. So I'm just doing the leafy greens and the cheese, onion, and spices. Oh, and cilantro, and egg. So it's not vegan, but it is vegetarian. Now I do have some bigger leaves in there because, like I said before, I got a little crazy and threw it in there before I chopped up the leaves, but that's okay. But normally when I make this, it would be, the leaves would be smaller in the mixture. And a lot of them are, but I've got a few full-size baby spinach leaves in there. But that'll be all right. So there you go. Now we're going to stuff this into the peppers. Okay, before you start stuffing your peppers, you're going to need a place to put them once they're stuffed. Get yourself a glass baking dish. This baking dish is not dirty. I had this sitting on the board while I was chopping the cilantro, so that's underneath that green that you see. Just so you know. Get your can of your red enchilada sauce and kind of do a thin layer along the bottom, enough to coat the whole pan. The size of your pan is going to depend on how many peppers you're using. So, you know, 9 by 13 or 12 by 24, 4 foot by 8. I don't know. Just, you know, get yourself a glass baking pan that fits the size that you will need to fit however many peppers you are doing. Now, we will stuff the peppers and then lay them in here. So here we got our bowl with our mixture. We've got our pan with the peppers on it that have cooled down. You are now just going to take each pepper with like a tablespoon or some sort of spoon that works for you and start mashing the cheese and spinach mixture in there. I still feel like this could use more cheese, but we'll add it on the top. And just kind of jam it down in the pepper until you've filled it up to the top. So you kind of got a thing like that going on. So now your pepper is stuffed. And you can, then you will lay this down in the glass pan with the enchilada sauce that you just put in it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all these up and then we'll show you the pan. One other thing, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I forgot an ingredient when I was doing the mixture. Normally I put my Ring of Fire pepper powder in this, which if you don't have this, I will post a link on how to make it below, but you can also use cayenne. You want to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of this in your mixture. Since I forgot to add it to the mixture, I am going to put it, sprinkle it into the red sauce in the bottom of the pan, so we'll still get that heat. Okay, so we got all of our peppers stuffed. See if I can get this better on the camera. And I still have some of the stuffing left over. So this filled all 13 of my peppers with no problem. And had a few left over. I think because part of that is because I threw in some extra of the spinach and the baby kale leaves, and plus I didn't chop them up as good. But we can still use this, and we're just going to sprinkle this over the top. Oh, that big leaf. Definitely didn't get that one chopped. We'll put that one in the bin to go. But this way you're not losing all this extra. So you can sprinkle this over the top. But if you don't end up with that much extra, that's fine too. Then, you know, you'll have enough just to stuff your peppers and you don't have to sprinkle extras. But, you know, this is all good, yummy stuff and I don't want to waste any of it. Alright, I think that's going to about do that with the leftover stuffing. Plus that just adds more cheesy goodness in there too. Okay, now that that's on there, take that last little half a pack of cheese that you have, sprinkle that over the top some more. Can't have enough cheese. I don't think there is such a thing. Alright, so that's spread out pretty good. Then take some more of that enchilada sauce and we're just going to sprinkle that over the top. You don't want to overdo it. You don't need a whole lot because you already have this in the bottom, but this adds another flavor layer on top. And this is all gonna kind of melt and cook down in there anyway. Okay, so there you go. It's all in the pan. And then once your oven comes up to 350 degrees, I started mine a little late, so it's still in the preheat mode. But once it's up to 350 degrees, put it in your 350 degree oven for 30 minutes. And then it should be ready to eat. Okay, so these are out of the oven. It's kind of what it looks like, if you can hopefully see that on the camera. A lot of cheesy, peppery, delicious goodness. And it smells so good in here right now with the cumin, onion, garlic, peppers, cheese, spinach. It's all good stuff. Anyway, so there you have it. My version of the Chille Rellenos. Serve that with a side of maybe like a Spanish style rice or some cilantro lime rice, some refried beans, maybe some chips and salsa, some guacamole, you know, for some extras on the side. But this is a delicious dish. You won't regret it, I promise. And like I had said earlier, normally I would mix that Ring of Fire pepper powder into the mixture, but I think this will do fine with mixing it into the sauce at the bottom of the pan as well. So you're still going to get that heat element in there. If you don't like it too spicy, you can leave that out. And again, you can substitute cayenne pepper for the Ring of Fire pepper, but I will post that link below for the Ring of Fire pepper powder, and how you can make it from home. And you can do that whether you're growing Ring of Fire peppers or if you're growing cayenne or Thai chilies. There's some similar ones of heat levels that you can all do the same way. It's all just when you grow them, you can dry them in the dehydrator and then grind them down into a powder and then use it in all kinds of stuff. And I actually have some more drying right now in my dehydrator. I've had them going since this morning. So anyway, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Hopefully you will try this dish and that you will enjoy it. And please comment below, let me know if you did try it and how it came out for you. And thanks for stopping by and checking out our channel. Hope you subscribe and click on the little bell so you get all of the updates when we're adding new content so you don't miss anything. But hope you're having a great day at your homestead, at your garden, in your kitchen, whatever it is that you may be doing. Hope everything is fantastic for you. So again, thanks for stopping by. Namaste.